Our very own Zach Richie is live from downtown Kearney. We're talking Crane Watch Festival, a lot of activities going on. Where are you at? You're at Mona, right, Zach?
Yeah, I'm at the Museum of Nebraska Art, just down the street from the Alley Rose. You guys can go get what Zach made and then come visit me down here at the Museum of Nebraska Art. I tell you what, I have a really fun assignment today. There are thousands and thousands of cranes in the air. We know that. But there are even more here at the Museum of Nebraska Art. If you kind of look behind me, there are I think around 36,000 cranes made out of origami, and they're all part of the first ever Crane Watch Festival. We are back in the kitchen making couture cupcakes, and these cupcakes are so fancy I didn't even know how to pronounce the word couture before 2 minutes ago. This one's a little bit different. I went over to UNK, and out of all the things that you can really learn in school, gingerbread house making is probably kind of last on the list, but for the past 5 years, UNK students have all come together and built some pretty creative homes. So let's take a look.
Also have a little prop for me?
I've got a prop.
I don't know what it is.
You know, I go all around the state fair, and I, normally looking for different things, unique things.
Yeah, because you're doing a lot of shoots with that. We like to call
This
them,
is
right?
the most unique thing that you are ever going to find.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
It's one of a kind. There's only one of them made. We've got Zach Richie on a stick.
Zach.
We can wave these. I'll even sign it for somebody if they want it.
We need
Perfect.
we need a little button, the little laugh and clap and applause button. Can I see it?
You can see it, yes.
Wow, Zach, that's really impressive.
It is very spectacular. What a beautiful backdrop. And really, I'm telling you, you guys have to come and see this in person. You really won't get an idea, just seeing the few behind me on TV. Come to the Museum of Nebraska Art. Admission is always free. Come check out these thousands and thousands of cranes. And to tell me a little bit more about them is Audrey Cotters, the director of the Museum of Nebraska Art. Audrey, how did all of these cranes get here?
Who's here?
For a whole
Zach
hour
Richie
show.
and Zach. You got to go to a kind of a fun thing this weekend.
I just wanted to say first, that Wings Over the Platte exhibit I've been to the past couple of years, and it's a great exhibition of everything Nebraska and celebrating the Platte River. So if you've never been there before, go there, check it out. They have so many different types of media.
Cool.
But then also, I was in Grand Island this past weekend on Saturday for Jeff Foxworthy, where he had the entire crowd kind of checking the color of their necks, seeing if there were any rednecks up there. And I got to shoot a little bit of footage. So here we go. We're going to show some footage of Jeff kind of talking about when people show up late to his shows. So let's take a look. Whether you call him Jolly St. Nick, Kris Kringle, Santa Claus, or plain old Santa, chances are that Nancy Lyer has heard and seen them all. Through the years, she's collected nearly 5,000 different versions of the Jolly Man in the red suit. Nancy doesn't buy too many anymore, but friends and family always stop by with new ones.
It was easy for them to buy me Christmas gifts because they could buy Santas for me.
There's Hula Hoop Santa. Santa riding a scooter. And he even has time to play some jazz. The Santa craze began in 1966 when Nancy entered a drawing at a Pizza Hut in North Platte. She put in her son's name and won this stuffed Santa Claus. Ever since, the reindeer have known where to stop.
I like to make Santas too. I make them out of all kinds of different things.
She's repaired hundreds of Santas and made some from unusual items like shotgun shells, hooves, and a pig ear. The collection fills the entire house with different themed rooms. Santa with animals, Santa with kids, and Mr. Claus on horseback, just to name a few.
She's kind of helped put Eustis on the map. There are a lot of people who remember coming to Eustis and remember visiting the Santa Lady and the Santa Lady's collection.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there.
And you better not pout and better not cry, because both Nancy and Santa have a watchful eye.
Little kids don't bother things. I tell them when they come to the door that I don't play with their toys when I go visit them, and they don't play with my toys when they come visit here.
Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Stop by Nancy Lyer's home for 5,000 Reasons to Believe. For this week's One Tank Trip, Zach Richie, Eustis. Well, with 1 year under its belt, the Kearney Therapeutic Horseback Riding Program looks to really help a lot of students out there. 20 of them have already saddled up for this summer, and they look to leave all those disabilities in the dust. So let's take a look.
Remember, slow and careful into the saddle.
It truly is an amazing program. I wish everyone could be a part of it and experience it because It's just amazing what horses can do.
Looks pretty good.
It's a therapy that almost anybody can benefit from. I'm always impressed with our horses, how they will change their attitude depending on the client. If the client is able to ride fairly independently, they move a lot quicker, they respond much quicker to commands.
Airplane. Put 'em out. Straight and level. Count for me.
A client that is very challenged, that needs a lot of support, you can watch them, they slow down physically, they're very careful about their movements. There's certain things we can train, and some things just come natural to the animal. I've never been able to explain it. It's just fun to see the individual make that connection with the horse.
We're here to help, but you do the work.
Landon couldn't ride a bike. Landon could not, his balance was off. He couldn't ride a bike. Since we've started, he bikes everywhere. And it was just getting the balance on the horses.
And stop your horse, don't run me over.
To have an animal of this size respond to you and listen to you and truly give you their attention, that's one of the powerful things about horses, and one of the things that really builds our confidence and is really fun to see from the beginning of the year to the end of the year.
Watch where your horse is going. Always watch where your horse is going.
At first, I was really nervous. Now, I'm proud of him. It's something he does well. It's something that he enjoys doing. It's a neat feeling to see him accomplish something.
Okay, up straight. Where are those hands supposed to be?
Especially for our wheelchair-bound children. They've had to spend their whole life looking up at people. And this is the opportunity that they're finally above everybody.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You get on it a couple times, it actually makes you feel great about yourselves.
That is so way cool, Zach.
Yeah,
that is cool.
Just really an amazing story. And if you really think about the courage of those kids, not many people can say they have the bravery to get up and go out on a horse and really do all those different exercises. Clocksmith Ray Evans always knows what time it is. All he has to do is just look at the clocks on the wall. There's nearly 400 in his Time After Time shop in downtown Grand Island.
Clocks are fascinating. I've heard it put this way: a clock is the most perfect blend between science and art that man has created. And it just says a lot about something having beauty and functionality as well.
Ray began collecting clocks as a teenager. He would buy broken ones and tinker with them until he got them fixed. In his 30s, he found a clocksmith who taught him the craft. It was time well spent, as he's repaired over 17,000 clocks in his career.
There are so many noon hours that go by here that I don't even really realize that all of them are going off at the same time. And then again, sometimes I hear it, I stop for a minute and think, I wish somebody else was here just to hear this right now, because it is a cool sound.
Most of the clocks Ray sees need a good cleaning. He loves restoring old family heirlooms that remind customers of times gone by.
I get a lot of satisfaction out of the fact that people come in here with this idea that this clock probably can't be fixed. And I give them encouragement, say, you know, I've got a huge success rate.
Ticks and tocks ring throughout Ray's shop. They don't make him go cuckoo, but remind him time flies when you're doing what you love. For this week's Made in Nebraska, Zach Richie, Grand Island.
Welcome back to NT Whiskey Life. We are so happy to have Zach Richie filling in today, and we're looking back at some of his memorable food finds, one-tank trips, and Made in Nebraskas. And our first one, I want to go. I really want to go to North Platte.
Yeah, this one I actually didn't do not too long ago. It's the Pink Poodle in North Platte and brings everything back to the 50s. And I was even excited about this one even before I went. It's kind of a great step back in time. So let's take a look.
2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're going to rock around the clock tonight.
They rock around the clock every day at the Pink Poodle in North Platte. From hamburgers and malts to poodle skirts and Betty Boop, the restaurant takes diners back in time.
We want a wow factor. A wow factor is when somebody sits down to eat their meal, they say, wow. And that's how they feel when they walk in the door. Wow.
Connie and her husband Ken have collected antiques for years. They finally had the space to show them off and always wanted to create a cafe. Connie's mother owned a restaurant and taught her everything she knows.
She says you have to take care of all the senses, and that is the smell has to be good, the presentation has to be perfect, service has to be very well, it has to taste good, and the prices have got to be compatible. You got all those things, you've got a good restaurant.
Diners can get all shook up over the signature shakes, floats, and malts. Eat like the king and enjoy some of his favorites, like burgers topped with banana and peanut butter. Kids can even drive away with their meals.
The hamburgers are just terrific. They don't taste like sawdust. I mean, it's real meat.
If you think the Pink Poodle's history only goes back to the happy days of the 50s, think again. North Platte's most famous resident, Buffalo Bill, once sat down at the bar behind the counter. The soda fountain came from a former drugstore in Cozad. The Pink Poodle celebrates every era.
It's kind of role playing. You come to work in a good mood, you leave in a good mood. People enjoy being around us. It's like when they walk through the door, they feel like they're in a different place.
Rewind the clock to whatever time you want. Just be sure to take the leash off your appetite at the Pink Poodle. For this week's Food Finds, Zach Richie, North Platte.
She was talking about the wow factor, and the first time I saw this, that was the first thing I said was, wow.
Just a great atmosphere. Immediately when you walk through the door, you see all of the nostalgic things, from the jukebox to all the waitresses dressed up. Just a fun, great place to be. You could be in a terrible mood probably and just walk right in there and feel immediately happy.
Well,